driving me crazy, my friends. I don't get it. We've got to stop fighting the way they want us to fight. We've got to stop reading the things they want us to read, and we've got to take responsibility for understanding things ourselves. And in that case, you need to understand immunology. You need to understand basic biology as it pertains to epidemiology and basic health and nutrition. And you need to understand that profit motivates everything in our system, and you can't deny that. You can't operate under that principle and then ignore it. And the entire system is based on profit. So wait, it's 15 days to flatten the curve, right? The bottom line is if you provide vaccines and therapeutics for disease, you can charge governments anything you want. And government money is the best kind of money. Government contracts are the best kind of contracts. That's what Bill Gates knows. He said the schools should be open. Now she's saying the schools should be open, but the schools aren't really open. Except in Florida, they're open, but that guy's terrible. So we're not screwing around here. Texas completely shuts down for 3 inches of snow. And I haven't had power for more than 7 consecutive minutes all day long, not since the morning. In fact, the only 5 minutes of consecutive power I've used to toast bread or make some hot water. It's crazy. We're not really supposed to go anywhere. The owner of this Airbnb is going to go get me some wood. Supposedly a friend of his has a wood pile, so if I get some wood tonight, at least I can sleep here on the couch and I'll be warm. So an epidemic should spread exponentially, but I've never seen an exponential curve. So what does that mean? Does that mean that it's not an epidemic? Or does that mean it's not a novel virus? Or does that mean it's got an R naught of less than 1? I don't understand. Why isn't what you predicted to happen happening? Here. So, when that light goes out, then we'll know. When that light goes out, then we'll know that the power went back out again. So what I want to talk about over the next few days in my stream is just this extreme cognitive dissonance. We've all got to wake up. It's not a meme anymore. It's not a meme anymore. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. For everybody who is awake, for everybody who's paying attention, there's got to be red lights going off. There's got to be question marks in your head. You've got to be having serious doubts now. You're a year in to what they told you was going to be 15 days to flatten the curve. And if we didn't do it right, there was going to be a disaster. And the disaster has not come. Several times the disaster hasn't come. The disaster didn't come over the summer. It didn't come in the fall. It didn't come after Thanksgiving. It didn't come after Christmas. They tried to make you believe it came, but it didn't. Because you can't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this many times, and I'm going to try and explain it in detail on my stream to come, but they have to explain to you how many people they expected to die last year, and how many more than they expected did die. I mean, one of the things that bothers me is that, mRNA packaged in a lipid, like, vacuole container type thing is not really a vaccine. Traditionally speaking, a vaccine is a part of, or a attenuated version of, or several parts of the pathogen that you want to vaccinate against. The immunization takes place when you put the vaccine into the skin of a person along with an adjuvant. An adjuvant is an irritant. The irritant brings enough of the immune system online so that it's apt to take up, powers back out again, it's apt to take up that parts of the the pathogen that you injected along with the adjuvant. Once they're presented to the immune system produces antibodies to those particles, which also have epitopic overlap with the pathogen in question. You develop an overlapping immunity to that pathogen, and the next time you're exposed to the pathogen, your body responds as though it's the second time it's been exposed, and that's a very good, strong response. That's what vaccination more or less is. You know, the other thing that really drives me nuts about this is that Wisconsin wasn't closed when I was home for Christmas. The power just came back on, man. Shut up. The thing is Wisconsin was open. Like, I watched people coming in and out of the church without masks on. I watched people go to the grocery store without masks on. At least half of the people using businesses in northern Wisconsin were not using masks, and there's still no crazy smashing pandemic up there. We are injecting the mRNA encoding the spike protein of the virus. The interesting thing about this is that the spike protein of the virus and its particular high affinity for the ACE2 receptor, among many other receptors in the body, as the result of that is this unknown immune response. An immune response that could, by happen chance, have an overlapping affinity with the target of the spike protein, thereby making a very likely possibility that a subset of some antibodies produced by some people who are infected by the coronavirus or who are exposed to the spike protein by vaccination will be unhelpful to their immune response. They could, for example, interact with the ACE2 receptor in a similar way that the spike protein does. That could pull the ACE2 receptors out of circulation and set off an imbalance in the angiotensin-renin system, which leads to downstream effects on bradykinin. And they have to show you the population distribution by age so that they can show you whether there was a gap or a bump at the top where there was an excess number of elderly people in America, which would be an excess number of people vulnerable to a novel coronavirus like COVID-19 or a novel coronavirus disease like COVID-19. So wait, now you want me to wear 2 masks instead of 1? Power's back on. I don't care. And they told us there was going to be a pandemic that would take millions of lives in America if we didn't lock down. And they've been saying for months that nobody's locking down. They've been telling us, look at South Dakota, look at Florida. Do it like Cuomo, right? Do it like New York did. Hey, power's on. And at some moment we're going to have to admit that South Dakota's not all dead people. Florida's not all dead people, and they've got a lot of old people there. 21% of the population is considered elderly in Florida and only 17 to 18% in New York State. And yet the death rate in New York State was never matched in Florida. And why aren't we talking about that? Why are we trying to make Florida into a bad place and Florida's governor into a bad guy when actually the results of Florida are far better than they are in either New York or California?